For a very long time, people have been fascinated by numbers. From ancient cultures to our world today, numbers have a special draw. They show us order in a world that can feel messy and confusing. We use numbers to measure things, to do math and to learn about space. But numbers aren't just useful. They can also have a deeper meaning, even a spiritual one. Some cultures think certain numbers are lucky or have a special power. Others see numbers as signs of important truths about the universe. Many religious books are full of patterns and symbols made with numbers. Smart people and religious experts have been trying to understand the secrets of these numbers for a very long time. Prologue, Mystery Revealed. In the vast expanse of human knowledge and spiritual research, certain mysteries captivate the minds of scholars and seekers. Among these puzzles is the intriguing presence of the number 19 in the Quran, a numerical pattern that has sparked curiosity, debate, and deep reflection. This prologue serves as an invitation to embark on a journey of discovery, exploring the depths of this numerical mystery and its significance in Islamic thought and scholarship. The attraction of numbers. Numbers have long fascinated humans, serving as a symbol of order, harmony, and divine design. From ancient Pythagoras to modern mathematicians, numbers have been seen as the key to unlocking the secrets of the universe. In religious texts, numbers often take on additional layers of meaning, reflecting spiritual truth and divine revelation. The Quran, with its intricate numerical patterns, is no exception. Al-Quran, Kitab Tanda Tanda. The Quran, the holy text of Islam, is revered by Muslims as the word of God revealed to the Prophet Muhammad. It is a book of signs, both literal and symbolic, guiding believers towards truth and moral behavior. Among these signs is the numerical pattern that has intrigued scholars and inspired countless interpretations. One such pattern is the repeated appearance of the number 19, which is explicitly mentioned in Surah Al-Mudaththir and implicitly woven throughout the text. Puzzle of 19. The number 19, as mentioned in the Quran, has been the subject of extensive study and debate. Some see it as a mathematical confirmation of the divine origin of the Quran, a numerical code embedded in the text. Others explore its symbolic significance, seeing it as a reflection of divine order and harmony. This puzzle has captivated scholars, inspiring them to delve into the depths of the Quranic text, seeking understanding and insights. Journey of discovery. This book is an invitation to join this journey of discovery, exploring the mystery of the number 19 in the Quran. We will delve into its historical context, numerical patterns, symbolic meaning, and the scientific debate that surrounds it. Along the way, we will find interesting case studies, comparative analyses, and methodological innovations that shed light on this mysterious number. An open mind and heart. As we embark on this journey, let us approach the subject with an open mind and heart, ready to engage with a variety of perspectives and interpretations. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran is not just an academic exercise, but a spiritual quest, inviting us to reflect on the deeper meanings and mysteries of divine revelation. Join me as we present layers of this numerical puzzle, seeking a deeper understanding, insight, and appreciation of the profound and enduring significance of the Quran in Islamic thought and scholarship. This prologue sets the stage for the exploration of the number 19 in the Quran, inviting the reader to embark on a journey of discovery and reflection. If you have any further questions or need additional details, please ask. The number 19 in Surah Al-Mudaththir 74:30 and its significance in the context of the Quran, especially in relation to the mathematical miracles or numerical miracles of the Quran, is a subject of interest in Islamic studies and among some Islamic scholars. Surah Al-Qis 74:30. The sentence in question is, "On it were 19 angels." Quran 74:30. This sentence is part of a passage that discusses the keeper of the fire of hell. The number 19 is explicitly mentioned, which has led to various interpretations and studies. Razm Uthmani. The term Ottoman Razm refers to the standard script of the Quran established during the time of the third caliph, Uthman ibn Affan. This writing became the basis for the form of writing the Quran, which is widely used today. The significance of the number 19 in the context of the Ottoman Razm is not directly related to the writing itself, but rather to the interpretation and study that has emerged around the numerical patterns in the Quran. Some scholars and researchers have explored the idea of numerical miracles in the Quran, where the number 19 is seen as a code or pattern that appears in various ways throughout the text. This concept was popularized by Rashad Khalifa, who proposed that the number 19 is a mathematical confirmation of the divine origin of the Quran. According to this interpretation, the number 19 appears in various forms, such as the number of occurrences of certain words, the structure of chapters and sentences, and other numerical patterns. Interpretation and study. Word count. Several studies have counted the occurrence of certain words or phrases in the Quran and found that it is a multiple of 19. Chapter and sentence structure. Researchers have analyzed the structure of chapters and sentences to find patterns related to the number 19. Symbolic significance. The number 19 is also seen as symbolically significant, representing angels above hellfire and other spiritual concepts. It is important to note that while this interpretation is interesting and has been the subject of much discussion and debate, it is not universally accepted and is often approached with a degree of skepticism. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran is a complex and nuanced field, and different scholars may have varying opinions about its importance. Significance of number 19 in Surah Al-Mudaththir, Numerical Miracles in the Quran Abstract. This concept paper explores the significance of the number 19 as mentioned in Surah Al-Mudaththir 74:30 of the Quran. It delves into the interpretations and studies that surround these numerical references, especially in the context of the numerical miracles of the Quran. This paper aims to provide an overview of existing research, discuss the symbolic significance of the number, and suggest areas for further investigation. Identity background. Introduction to Surah Al-Mudaththir and the specific mention of the number 19 in verse 30. Purpose. Describe the purpose of the paper, which is to explore the significance of the number 19 and its interpretation in Islamic scholarship. Scope. Determine the scope of the paper, including a focus on numerical patterns, symbolic significance, and scholarly interpretation. Historical context. Ottoman Razm. A brief explanation of the writings of the Ottoman Razm and their role in standardizing the text of the Quran. Early interpretation, historical interpretation of the number 19 by classical Islamic scholars. Numerical miracles of the Quran concept. Overview, an introduction to the concept of numerical miracles in the Quran. Rashad Khalifa's contributions, a discussion of Rashad Khalifa's work on the number 19 and its impact on modern interpretation. Critical perspective, an overview of criticism and alternative views on numerical magic theory, numerical patterns and analysis. Word count and frequency, an analysis of the word count and frequency in the Quran, which is a multiple of 19. Structural patterns, examination of structural patterns in chapters and sentences related to the number 19. Mathematical validation, a discussion of mathematical validation and statistical analysis that supports the theory of numerical miracles. Symbolic significance angel, above hellfire, symbolic interpretation of the number 19 as representing angels above hellfire. Spiritual and theological implications, an exploration of the spiritual and theological implications of number 19 in Islamic thought. Scientific interpretation and debate. Supporting views and overview of scholars and researchers who support the theory of numerical magic. Critical view, a discussion of scholars who criticize or reject theories and why they do so. Ongoing research, a summary of ongoing research and recent research on the topic. Potential areas for further investigation. Interdisciplinary approach, a proposal for interdisciplinary research that combines linguistics, mathematics, and theology. Comparative studies, suggestions for comparative studies with other religious texts and numerical patterns. Technology applications, exploration of technology applications, such as text analysis software, to further investigate numerical patterns in the Quran. Conclusion, summary of findings, a summary of the main points discussed in the paper. Implications, a discussion of the implications of the theory of numerical miracles for Islamic studies and the wider academic community. Future directions, recommendations for future research and areas of exploration. Mystery. 19. Revealing numerical miracles in the Quran. Chapter 1. Introduction. Purpose and scope. Clearly define the objectives of the book and what you want to achieve. Explain why the number 19 in the Quran is an interesting topic to study. Importance of the topic. Discuss the relevance of numerical patterns in religious texts and their importance in Islamic studies. Chapter overview. Provide a brief summary of each chapter to give readers an idea of what to expect. Chapter 2. Historical context and scripture. Surah Al-Mudaththir provides a detailed analysis of the surah, including the context of the revelation, its theme, and significance in the Quran. Ottoman Rasm. Explain the historical background of the Ottoman Rasm script, its development, and its role in standardizing the text of the Quran. Preliminary interpretation. Research and present the historical interpretation of the number 19 by classical Islamic scholars, including any debates or discussions that arise. Chapter 3. The concept of numerical magic. Introduction to numerical miracles. Determine what is meant by numerical miracles and provide examples from other religious texts or traditions. Rashad Khalifa's contributions. Dive into the works of Rashad Khalifa, his methodology, and the impact of his discoveries on modern interpretation of the Quran. Critical perspective. Present a balanced view by incorporating criticism and alternative interpretations of the numerical miracle theory. Chapter 4. Numerical patterns in the Quran. Word count and frequency. Conduct a thorough analysis of the word count and frequency in the Quran related to the number 19. Use tables and charts to illustrate this pattern. Structural patterns. Examine structural patterns in the Quran, such as the order of chapters and verses, and how they relate to the number 19. Mathematical validation. Discuss statistical analysis and mathematical validation that underpin the theory of numerical miracles. Chapter 5. The symbolic significance of number 19. Angels above hellfire. Explore the symbolic interpretation of the number 19 as representing angels above hellfire and its theological implications. Spiritual and theological implications. Discuss the broader spiritual and theological significance of the number 19 in Islamic thought and practice. Chapter 6. Scientific interpretation and debate. Supporting views. Present scholarly views that support the theory of numerical miracles, including their arguments and evidence. Critical views. Discuss the views of scholars who criticize or reject theories and the reasons behind their doubts. Ongoing research. Summarize recent research and ongoing research related to the theory of numerical magic. Chapter 7. Methodology for studying numerical patterns. Text analysis. Describe methods for analyzing numerical patterns in religious texts, including linguistic and semantic analysis. Statistical analysis. Describe statistical techniques for analyzing numerical patterns such as frequency analysis and distribution testing. Technology applications. Discuss the use of technology in studying numerical patterns such as text analysis software and machine learning algorithms. Chapter 8. A comparative study with texts of other religions. Numerical patterns in other texts. Compare numerical patterns in the Quran with those found in other religious texts, such as the Bible or the Torah. Interdisciplinary approach. Explore an interdisciplinary approach that combines linguistics, mathematics, and theology to study numerical patterns. Chapter 9. Case studies and examples. Detailed case studies. Present in-depth case studies on specific numerical patterns related to the number 19 in the Quran. Examples from the Quran. Provide detailed examples of numerical patterns in the Quran, including verse and chapter references. Chapter 10. Implications for Islamic studies. Theological implications. Discuss the impact of numerical miracle theory on Islamic theology and beliefs. Academic implications. Explore the impact on the academic study of the Quran and Islamic studies more broadly. Broader implications. Consider the implications for interreligious dialogue and comparative studies of religions. Chapter 11. Future direction and research potential areas for further research. Suggest areas for future research, including specific questions or hypotheses that can be explored. Emerging technologies. Discuss emerging technologies that can be used to study numerical patterns, such as artificial intelligence and natural language processing. Collaborative research. Explore opportunities for collaborative and interdisciplinary research. Chapter 12. Conclusion summary of findings. Summarize the main points and findings discussed throughout the book. Reflections on the journey. Share personal reflections on the research and writing process. Final thoughts. Offer closing thoughts on the significance of the number 19 in the Quran and its implications for Islamic studies. Chapter 1. Introduction, Purpose and Scope. The purpose of this book is to investigate the interesting phenomenon of the number 19 in Surah Al-Mudaththir Al-Quran and its wider implications in Islamic studies. This exploration aims to reveal the numerical patterns, symbolic significance, and scholarly interpretations associated with these numbers. The scope of the book includes historical context, mathematical analysis, theological reflection, and ongoing debate about the numerical miracle of the Quran. Importance of the topic. The study of numerical patterns in religious texts is not new, but the specific mention of the number 19 in the Quran has sparked great interest and debate. This number is explicitly referred to in Surah Al-Mudaththir 74:30, which states, "On it are 19 angels." This verse has led to various interpretations and analyses, with some scholars suggesting that the number 19 serves as a mathematical confirmation of the divine origin of the Quran. Understanding the significance of these numbers can provide an insight into the structure and meaning of the Quran, as well as its place in Islamic theology and scholarship. Chapter Overview. This book is compiled to provide a thorough exploration of the number 19 in the Quran. Each chapter builds on the previous one, offering a detailed analysis of various aspects of this numerical phenomenon. Here's a quick overview of what each chapter will cover. Historical and scriptural context. This chapter will explore the historical background of Surah Al-Mudaththir and the Ottoman Razm script, as well as the early interpretation of the number 19 by classical Islamic scholars. The concept of numerical miracles. This chapter will introduce the concept of numerical miracles in the Quran, focusing on Rashad Khalifa's contributions and the debate over his work. Numerical patterns in the Quran. This chapter will delve into the numerical patterns associated with the number 19, including word counts, structural patterns, and mathematical validation. Symbolic significance of number 19. This chapter will explore the symbolic and theological implications of number 19, especially its relation to angels and hellfire. Scientific interpretation and debate. This chapter will present the views of scholars who support and criticize the theory of numerical miracles, as well as ongoing research in this field. Methodologies for studying numerical patterns. This chapter will discuss a variety of methodologies for studying numerical patterns in religious texts, including textual approaches, statistics, and technology. Comparative studies with texts of other religions. This chapter will compare the numerical patterns in the Quran with those found in other religious texts, and explore an interdisciplinary approach to studying these patterns. Case studies and examples. This chapter will provide detailed case studies and examples of numerical patterns related to the number 19 in the Quran. Implications for Islamic studies. This chapter will discuss the theological implications, academics, and broader implications of the numerical miracle theory for Islamic studies. Future directions and research. This chapter will propose areas for future research and explore emerging technologies and collaborative opportunities to study numerical patterns. Conclusion. The final chapter will summarize the book's key findings, offer personal reflections on the research process, and provide concluding thoughts on the significance of the number 19 in the Quran. By the end of this book, readers will have a thorough understanding of the number 19 in the Quran, its historical and theological significance, and the ongoing debate and research on this fascinating numerical phenomenon. Whether you're a scholar, a student of Islamic studies, or simply curious about the mysteries of the Quran, this book aims to provide a thought-provoking and informative exploration of the number 19 and its place in Islamic thought and scholarship. Chapter 2. Historical context and scripture. Surah Al-Qis. Introduction to Surah Al-Mudaththir. Surah Al-Mudaththir, the 74th chapter of the Quran, has important significance in the Holy Book of Islam. Surah is believed to have been revealed in the early days of the prophetic Mecca of the Prophet Muhammad, PBUH. The title Al-Mudaththir translates to the wrapped one or the cloaked one, referring to the prophet who was wrapped in a robe during a profound spiritual experience. Theme and importance. Surah discusses themes of judgment, accountability, and the consequences of one's actions. It serves as a warning about the final reckoning that awaits humans. One of the most interesting verses in this surah is verse 30, which states, "On it were 19 angels." This sentence has sparked great interest and debate among scholars because of the obvious mention of the number 19. The context of revelation. Understanding. The context in which Surah Al-Mudaththir was revealed is important to appreciate its importance. The early days of Mecca were a time of great challenges and difficulties for the Prophet and the young Muslim community. The surah's message of divine accountability and justice would resonate deeply with the early believers, providing them with spiritual guidance and moral fortitude. Razm Uthmani, development of the Ottoman Razm script. The Ottoman Razm script is the standard consonant text of the Quran, established during the Caliphate of Uthman ibn Affan, the third Caliph of Islam. This uniformity is an important moment in Islamic history, ensuring the preservation and uniformity of the Quranic text. The Ottoman Razm script is the basis for the form of writing the Quran that is widely used today. Role in harmonizing the Quran. The standardization of the text of the Quran is necessary because of the rapid development of Muslim countries and the need for a unified holy book. The Ottoman Razm script plays a crucial role in this process, providing a consistent and authoritative text that can be disseminated throughout the growing Muslim community. This standardization helps preserve the integrity of the Quran and ensures that future generations will have access to authentic and unaltered holy books. Historical significance. The Ottoman Razm script is not only important because of its role in standardizing the Quran, but also because of its historical and cultural significance. It represents the real relationship with the early Muslim community and the efforts of the Prophet's companions to preserve his teachings. This script is a testament to the meticulous care and respect that the Quran has bequeathed to the Quran over the centuries. Early interpretation of number 19, classic scientific views. Early Islamic scholars offered various interpretations of the number 19, as mentioned in Surah Al-Mudaththir. Some see it as a reference to the number of angels guarding hellfire, while others explore its symbolic significance. These interpretations are often rooted in the broader theological and eschatological themes of the Quran. Debate and discussion. The mention of the number 19 in the Quran has been the subject of debate among scholars throughout the history of Islam. Some have seen it as a literal reference to angel numbers, while others have explored its potential numerical and symbolic meanings. This debate reflects the rich intellectual tradition of Islamic scholarship and the ongoing effort to understand the deeper meaning of the Quranic text. Contributions to Islamic thought. The early interpretation of the number 19 has contributed to the development of Islamic thought and interpretation. They have encouraged scholars to delve into the numerical patterns and symbolic meanings of the Quran, enriching the field of Quranic studies and inspiring further research and exploration. This chapter provides a basic understanding of Surah Al-Mudaththir, the Ottoman Razm script, and the early interpretation of the number 19. It sets the stage for more detailed analysis and discussion that will follow in the following chapters. Chapter 3. The concept of numerical magic. Introduction to numerical miracles. The concept of numerical miracles in religious texts refers to the presence of intricate numerical patterns that are believed to be evidence of divine authorship. In the context of the Quran, the theory of numerical miracles suggests that the number 19 and its multiples appear in various forms throughout the text, serving as a mathematical confirmation of its divine origin. This theory has captivated scholars and researchers, leading to widespread study and debate. Rashad Khalifa's contribution. Rashad Khalifa. Background: Rashad Khalifa was an Egyptian biochemist and a prominent figure in the study of the numerical patterns of the Quran. His work on the number 19 brought the concept of numerical miracles to the forefront in Islamic studies. Khalifa's approach involves a careful analysis of the Quranic text, focusing on word counts, sentence structures, and other numerical patterns. Methodology and discovery. Khalifa's methodology involves calculating the occurrence of certain words and phrases in the Quran and analyzing their frequency in relation to the number 19. He discovered that most of these counts were multiples of 19, which he interpreted as evidence of divine mathematical codes embedded in the text. Some of its key findings include word frequency. Certain words such as Allah and Rahman appear several times, which is a multiple of 19. Chapter and verse. Structure. The order of the chapters and verses in the Quran exhibits the patterns associated with the number 19. Mathematical validation. Khalifa used statistical analysis to support his findings, arguing that the probability of such a pattern occurring by chance was very low. Impact on modern interpretation. The work of Rashad Khalifa has had a significant impact on the modern interpretation of the Quran. His discovery has inspired further research into the numerical patterns of the Quran and has contributed to the ongoing debate over the theory of numerical miracles. Khalifa's contributions have also sparked interest in the use of mathematical and statistical methods in the study of religious texts. Critical perspective, doubts and criticism. While Khalifa's work has received attention and support, it has also faced criticism and skepticism from various scholars. Critics argue that the numerical patterns identified by Khalifa may be coincidence or the result of selective analysis. They also questioned the rigor of the methodology of his study and the theological implications of his discovery. Alternative tafsiran. Some scholars offer alternative interpretations of numerical patterns in the Quran, suggesting that they may have literary or structural significance rather than being evidence of divine codes. This interpretation emphasizes the aesthetic and rhetorical aspects of the Quranic text rather than focusing on mathematical validation. Ongoing debate. The debate over the theory of numerical miracles is ongoing, with proponents and critics continuing to engage in scholarly discussion and research. This debate reflects a broader tension in Islamic studies between the literal and symbolic interpretation of the Quran, as well as the role of mathematical and scientific methods in religious scholarship. This chapter provides an in-depth exploration of the concept of numerical magic, focusing on Rashad Khalifa's contributions and the critical perspectives that have emerged in response to his work. It sets the stage for more detailed analysis and discussion that will follow in the following chapters. Chapter 4. Numerical patterns in the Quran word. Count and frequency. Introduction to word count. One of the most interesting aspects of numerical miracle theory is the analysis of word counts and frequencies in the Quran. Scholars have examined the occurrence of certain words and phrases, finding that many of them appear several times, which is a multiple of 19. This chapter investigates this numerical pattern and its potential importance. Keywords and phrases. Allah. The word Allah appears 2,698 times in the Quran, which is a multiple of 19, 19x 142. Rahman. The word Rahman appears 57 times, which is a multiple of 19, 19x 3. Al-Rahim. The word Al-Rahim, the most merciful, appears 114 times, which is a multiple of 19, 19x 6. These examples illustrate numerical patterns associated with key words and phrases in the Quran. Proponents of the numerical miracle theory argue that such patterns are evidence of divine mathematical codes embedded in texts. Frequency analysis. Frequency analysis involves counting the occurrence of words and phrases throughout the Quran and examining their distribution. This method has been used to identify the patterns associated with the number 19 and its multiples. Researchers have used statistical techniques to analyze these frequencies and determine the probability of such patterns occurring by chance. Structural patterns. Chapter and sentence structure. The arrangement of chapters, surahs and verses, ayah, in the Quran exhibit intricate numeral patterns. Some scholars have noted that the number of verses in certain chapters, as well as the distribution of verses throughout the Quran, display patterns associated with the number 19. Surah Al-Mudaththir. This surah explicitly mentions the number 19, contains 56 verses. Although 56 is not a multiple of 19, some researchers have explored the potential numerical relationship in the surah. Surah Al-Fatiha. The opening surah of the Quran contains 7 verses, and several scholars have recorded numerical patterns in their structure and content, symmetry and balance. The structural patterns of the Quran often exhibit symmetry and balance, which some scholars interpret as evidence of divine design. These patterns include sentence order, the use of repetition, and the thematic coherence of chapters. The number 19 is seen as a unifying element that contributes to this overall structure. Math, validation, statistical analysis. Statistical analysis plays an important role in the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. Researchers use statistical methods to determine the probability of certain patterns occurring by chance. This analysis often involves calculating the expected frequency of words and phrases and comparing them to the frequencies observed in the Quran. Probability and significance. Proponents of the numerical miracle theory argue that the probability of an observed pattern occurring by chance is very low. They interpret this as proof of the divine mathematical code embedded in the Quran. Critics, however, argue that this pattern could be the result of selective analysis or chance. Mathematical models have been developed to analyze numerical patterns in the Quran. These models often involve complex algorithms and statistical techniques designed to identify and interpret numerical relationships in text. Researchers continue to refine these models as new data and analysis methods become available. This chapter provides a detailed examination of numerical patterns in the Quran, focusing on word counts, structural patterns, and mathematical validation. It offers insights into the methods and findings of scholars who have studied this pattern, as well as ongoing debates about its importance. Chapter 5. The symbolic significance of number 19. Angel above hellfire, tafsiran. Symbolic, the explicit mention of the number 19 in Surah Al-Mudaththir 74:30 is often interpreted as a reference to the number of angels guarding the hellfire. This interpretation is rooted in the eschatological theme of the Quran, which describes the final calculation and consequences of one's actions. Angels are seen as a symbol of divine justice and accountability, ensuring that God's decrees are carried out. Theological implications. The symbolic significance of the number 19 goes beyond the literal count of angels. It represents the precision and order inherent in divine creation and judgment. The number 19 in this context can be seen as a symbol of divine control and the inevitable accountability for one's actions. This interpretation aligns with the broader themes of justice and mercy that permeate the Quran. Guardian of divine justice. Angels above hellfire are often portrayed as resolute and unyielding in their duty to uphold divine justice. Their role is to ensure that the consequences of one's actions are carried out fairly and without bias. The number 19, as this angel symbol, emphasizes the unwavering nature of divine justice and the importance of righteous conduct. Spiritual and theological implications, divine command and harmony. The number 19 is seen as a reflection of the divine order and harmony that underlies creation. This perspective is supported by the numerical and symmetrical patterns found throughout the Quran. The repetition of the number 19 in various forms is interpreted as a sign of coherence and unity of the divine message. Unity and coherence. In Islamic theology, the concept of monotheism, or the oneness of God, is central. The number 19, with its repetitive pattern and mathematical nature, is seen as a symbol of this unity. It represents the interconnectedness of all aspects of creation and the divine will that governs them. This interpretation reinforces the idea that the Quran is a coherent and unified text, reflecting the single divine source from which it originated. Mystical and esoteric interpretations. Some scholars and mystics have explored the esoteric significance of the number 19, delving into its potential meaning beyond literal and symbolic interpretation. This interpretation often uses Sufi traditions and other mystical approaches to Islamic thought. They see the number 19 as the key to unlocking deeper spiritual truths and insights into the nature of reality. Numerical symbolism in Islamic thought. Numerical symbolism has a rich history in Islamic thought, with numbers often carrying profound spiritual and theological significance. The number 19 is no exception, and its symbolic significance is reflected in various aspects of Islamic culture and practices. From architecture to art, the number 19 and its multiples can be found embedded in the fabrics of Islamic civilization. This chapter explores the symbolic significance of the number 19 in the Quran, focusing on its association with angels on the fires of hell and its broader spiritual and theological implications. It offers insight into the rich symbolism and interpretive traditions that surround this number, as well as its role in Islamic thought and practice. Chapter 6. Scientific Interpretation and Debate. Supportive Views. Proponents of the numerical miracle theory. Several scholars and researchers have supported the theory of numerical miracles, arguing that the repeating pattern of the number 19 in the Quran is proof of divine mathematical codes. These proponents often use the works of Rashad Khalifa and other researchers who have conducted detailed analyses of the Quranic texts. Key arguments and evidence word frequency analysis. Proponents point to the exact frequency of specific words and phrases which often align with multiples of 19. They think that this pattern is too consistent to be a coincidence. Structural symmetry. The order of chapters and verses in the Quran is seen to exhibit the symmetry and balance reflected in the number 19. The coherence of these structures is interpreted as evidence of divine design. Mathematical probability. Statistical analysis has been used to show a low probability of observed numerical patterns occurring by chance. Proponents argue that this mathematical impossibility supports the idea of divine codes. Contribution to Islamic scholarship. The works of scholars who support the theory of numerical miracles have contributed to the wider field of study of the Quran. Their research has encouraged further exploration of numerical patterns and symbolic meanings in the Quran, enriching academic discourse and inspiring new research avenues. Critical views. Skeptics and critics. While the theory of numerical miracles has gained support, it has also faced criticism from scholars who question its validity and importance. These critics offer alternative interpretations and raise methodological concerns about the research that supports the theory. Criticism of the methodology selective analysis. Critics argue that the numerical patterns identified by proponents of the theory may be the result of selective analysis. They argue that by focusing on specific words and phrases, researchers can find patterns that seem important but are actually coincidences. Statistical validity. The statistical methods used to analyze numerical patterns in the Quran have been scrutinized by critics. They question the assumptions underlying this analysis and the interpretation of the results. Theological implications. Some scholars have expressed concern about the theological implications of the theory of numerical miracles. They argue that excessive emphasis on numerical patterns can overshadow the spiritual and moral teachings of the Quran. Alternative tafsir and critics of the numerical miracle theory offer alternative interpretations of numerical patterns in the Quran. They suggest that these patterns may have literary or structural significance rather than being evidence of divine codes. This interpretation emphasizes the aesthetic and rhetorical aspects of the Quranic text. Ongoing research and debate. The debate over the theory of numerical miracles is ongoing, with proponents and critics continuing to engage in scholarly discussion and research. This debate reflects a broader tension in Islamic studies between the literal and symbolic interpretation of the Quran, as well as the role of mathematical and scientific methods in religious scholarship. Interdisciplinary approach. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran has benefited from an interdisciplinary approach that combines linguistics, mathematics, and theology. This approach has enriched academic discourse and provided new insights into the structure and meaning of the Quranic text. This chapter explores scholarly interpretations and debates regarding the theory of numerical magic, presenting the views of both proponents and critics. It offers a balanced perspective on ongoing discussion and research in this field, as well as methodological and theological considerations at play. Chapter 7. Methodology for studying numerical patterns. Text analysis. Linguistic and semantic analysis. Text analysis is a fundamental methodology for studying numerical patterns in religious texts, including the Quran. This approach involves a detailed examination of the language and structure of the text to identify and interpret numerical patterns. Word count and frequency. Researchers count the occurrence of specific words and phrases to identify numerical patterns. This involves both manual and automated text analysis methods. Semantic relationships. The study of semantic relationships in texts can reveal deeper numerical patterns. This involves analyzing the meaning of words and phrases in their context and exploring how they relate to numerical themes. Concordance and indexing. Concordance and index is a tool that facilitates text analysis by providing a comprehensive list of words and phrases in the text, along with their locations. This tool is invaluable for identifying and studying numerical patterns in the Quran. Concordance. Concordance lists all of the occurrences of each word in the text, allowing researchers to quickly identify and analyze numerical patterns. Indexing. Indexing involves the creation of a systematic list of topics, themes, or keywords in a text, which can be used to study numerical patterns in a more structured way. Statistical analysis, frequency distribution. Statistical analysis plays an important role in the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. One of the main methods is frequency distribution analysis, which involves examining word count distributions and other numerical data. Expected versus observed. Frequency. Researchers compared the expected frequency of words and phrases based on random chance with the observed frequency in the Quran. Significant deviations from the expected frequency can indicate the presence of numerical patterns. Chi-square test. The chi-square test is used to determine if the observed frequency differs significantly from the expected frequency. This statistical method helps assess the likelihood of numerical patterns occurring by chance. Correlation and regression. Analysis. Correlation and regression analysis can be used to explore relationships between numerical patterns and other variables in texts. Correlation. Analysis. This method studies the strength and direction of the relationship between numerical patterns and other textual features, such as thematic content or structural elements. Regression analysis. Regression analysis can be used to model and predict numerical patterns based on other variables in the text. This method helps identify underlying trends and relationships that may not be immediately obvious. Technology applications, text analysis. Software. Advances in technology have provided new tools for studying numerical patterns in religious texts. Text analysis software can automate many of the processes involved in identifying and analyzing numerical patterns. Automatic word count. The software can quickly and accurately calculate the occurrence of words and phrases in text, making it easier to identify numerical patterns. Pattern recognition. Machine learning algorithms can be used to recognize and analyze complex numerical patterns in text. These algorithms can identify patterns that may be overlooked by human researchers. Machine learning and AI. Machine learning and artificial intelligence, AI, offer powerful tools for studying numerical patterns in the Quran. This technology can analyze large data sets and identify complex patterns that are difficult to detect using traditional methods. Natural language processing, NLP. NLP techniques can be used to analyze the language and structure of the Quran, identifying numerical patterns and semantic relationships in texts. Data visualization. Visualization tools can be used to create graphs, charts, and other visual representations of numerical patterns. These visualizations can help researchers better understand and interpret the data. This chapter explores methodologies for studying numerical patterns in the Quran, focusing on textual, statistical, and technological approaches. It provides an overview of the tools and techniques used by researchers to identify and analyze numerical patterns, as well as the challenges and opportunities associated with these methodologies. Chapter 8, a comparative study with texts of other religions. Numerical patterns in texts of other religions. Introduction to comparative studies. Comparative studies involve examining numerical patterns in the Quran, along with texts of other religions. This approach provides a broader context for understanding the importance of numerical patterns and their role in religious literature. By comparing and contrasting these patterns, researchers can gain insights into the unique characteristics of the Quran and its place in the broader landscape of religious texts. Bible. The Bible, especially the Old Testament, contains many numerical patterns and symbolic use of numbers. A comparative study between the Quran and the Bible can reveal both similarities and differences in the use of numerical symbolism. Number 7. In the Bible, the number 7 is often associated with perfection and perfection. Comparative studies can explore how these numbers are used in the Quran and whether similar symbolic meanings are present. Gematria. Gematria is a Jewish form of numerology that assigns numerical value to words and phrases. Comparative studies can examine whether similar numerical coding techniques are present in the Quran. Torah. The Torah, the basic text of Judaism, also contains intricate numerical patterns and symbolic use of numbers. A comparative study between the Quran and the Torah can provide insight into the shared traditions and unique characteristics of each text. Numerical symbolism. The Torah uses numbers symbolically to convey spiritual and theological meaning. Comparative studies can explore how the symbolic use of these numbers compares to those found in the Quran. Structural patterns. The Torah exhibits structural patterns that reflect numerical symbolism. Comparative studies can examine whether similar structural patterns are present in the Quran, texts of other religions. Comparative studies can also be extended to other religious texts, such as the Bhagavad Gita, Vedas, and Taoist teaching. These texts contain numerical patterns and symbolic uses of numbers that can be compared and distinguished from those found in the Quran. Cultural and theological context. Each religious text is embedded in a unique cultural and theological context. Comparative studies can explore how these contexts influence the use of numerical patterns and symbolism. Universal themes. Comparative studies can identify universal themes and patterns that go beyond individual religious traditions, providing insights into shared human experiences of divinity. Interdisciplinary approach, linguistics and mathematics. An interdisciplinary approach that combines linguistics, mathematics and theology can provide new insights into the numerical patterns found in religious texts. This approach uses the strengths of multiple disciplines to offer a more comprehensive understanding of the subject. Linguistic analysis. Linguistic analysis can reveal the semantic and syntactic structures that underlie numerical patterns in religious texts. This approach can help identify linguistic features that contribute to numerical symbolism. Mathematical modeling. Mathematical modeling can be used to analyze and interpret numerical patterns in religious texts. This approach can help identify underlying trends and relationships that may not be immediately obvious. Cultural and historical context. Understanding the cultural and historical context in which religious texts are produced is essential for interpreting numerical patterns and symbolism. An interdisciplinary approach can use historical and cultural studies to provide a more nuanced understanding of these patterns. Historical analysis. Historical analysis can reveal social, political, and religious factors that influence the production of religious texts. This approach can help contextualize numerical patterns and symbolism in their historical settings. Cultural studies. Cultural studies can explore the ways in which numerical patterns and symbolism are embedded in the cultural traditions of the broader religious community. This approach can provide insight into the shared values and beliefs that underlie this pattern. This chapter explores comparative studies with other religious texts, focusing on numerical patterns and the symbolic use of numbers found in the Bible, Torah, and other religious literature. It also discusses an interdisciplinary approach that combines linguistics, mathematics, and cultural studies to provide a more comprehensive understanding of numerical patterns in religious texts. Chapter 9. Case Studies and Examples. Detailed Case Study. Case Study 1. The Word of Allah. One of the most interesting case studies in the theory of numerical miracles is the frequency of the word Allah in the Quran. The word appears 2,698 times, which is a multiple of 19x 142. This case study investigates the significance of these numerical patterns and their implications for theory. Frequency analysis. A detailed frequency analysis reveals the exact distribution of the word Allah throughout the Quran. This analysis includes a breakdown of events by chapters and sentences, highlighting the consistency of the patterns. Theological implications. The repeated occurrence of the word Allah in multiples of 19 is interpreted as a sign of divine authorship. This case study explores the theological significance of this pattern and its role in Islamic thought. Case study 2. Basmala Basmala, the phrase Bismillah-ir-Rahman-ir-Rahim, in the name of Allah, the most merciful, appears 114 times in the Quran, which is a multiple of 19x 6. This case study examines the numerical significance of Basmala and its role in the Quran. Structural analysis. Basmala appears at the beginning of all but one chapter in the Quran. This case study analyzes the importance of Basmala's structure and its numerical patterns. Symbolic meaning. Basmala is a fundamental phrase in Islamic prayer and rituals. This case study explores the symbolic meaning of Basmala and its numerical significance in the context of Islamic practice. Case study 3. Number of verses in Surah Al-Mudaththir, which explicitly mentions the number 19, contains 56 verses. Although 56 is not a multiple of 19, this case study explores the potential numerical relationships in the surah and its significance. Verse analysis. A detailed analysis of the verses in Surah Al-Mudaththir reveals potential numerical patterns and relationships. This includes checking the word count, phrase frequency, and structural elements. Thematic coherence. The case study explores the thematic coherence of Surah Al-Mudaththir and how numerical patterns contribute to the message and its overall structure. Examples from the Quran. Example 1. The word Rahman. The word Rahman appears 57 times in the Quran, which is a multiple of 19x 3. This example highlights the numerical significance of the word Rahman and its role in the Quran. Frequency distribution. A detailed analysis of the frequency distribution of the word Rahman reveals its consistent appearance in multiples of 19. This includes a breakdown of events by chapters and sentences. Theological significance. The repeated occurrence of the word Rahman in multiples of 19 is interpreted as a sign of divine mercy and mercy. This example explores the theological significance of this numerical pattern. Example 2. The word Al-Rahim. The word Al-Rahim appears 114 times in the Quran, which is a multiple of 19x 6. This example examines the numerical significance of the word Al-Rahim and its role in the Quran. Structural analysis. The word Al-Rahim appears in various structural contexts throughout the Quran. This example analyzes the importance of the word's structure and its numerical patterns. Symbolic meaning. The word Al-Rahim is a fundamental concept in Islamic theology. This example explores the symbolic meaning of the word and its numerical significance in the context of Islamic thought. Example 3. Number of chapters in the Quran. The Quran contains 114 chapters, which is a multiple of 19x 6. This example examines the numerical significance of chapter numbers in the Quran and its implications for the theory of numerical miracles. Structural coherence. The number of chapters in the Quran is seen as a coherent reflection of divine structure and authorship. This example analyzes the importance of the number of chapters and their numerical patterns. Theological implications. The repeated appearance of the number 19 in the structure of the Quran is interpreted as a sign of divine order and harmony. This example explores the theological significance of this numerical pattern. This chapter presents detailed case studies and examples of numerical patterns related to the number 19 in the Quran. It offers insights into the importance of this pattern and its implications for the theory of numerical magic. Chapter 10. Implications for Islamic studies, theological implications, divine authorship, and authenticity. The numerical pattern associated with the number 19 in the Quran has significant theological implications. Proponents of the numerical miracle theory argue that this pattern serves as evidence of divine authorship and authenticity of the Quran. This perspective reinforces the belief that the Quran is a divinely inspired text, free from human change or error. Divine accuracy, repeated numerical patterns are seen as a reflection of divine precision and order. This interpretation supports the idea that the Quran is a carefully crafted text, guided by higher intelligence. Authenticity and preservation. Numerical patterns are also interpreted as a sign of the purity and preservation of the Quran from time to time. This perspective emphasizes the integrity of the text of the Quran and its delivery that has not changed over the centuries. Spiritual and moral teachings. While the numerical patterns in the Quran are interesting, it is important to recognize that they complement, rather than replace, the spiritual and moral teachings of the text. The main purpose of the Quran is to guide people towards truth and moral behavior. Balance between numerical and spiritual. Scholars emphasize the importance of maintaining a balance between the study of numerical patterns and the deeper spiritual and moral message of the Quran. This approach ensures that the theory of numerical miracles does not overshadow the core teachings of Islam. Increases faith and understanding. Numerical patterns can increase faith and understanding by providing an additional layer of meaning and importance. They serve as a reminder of the divine order and harmony that underlies creation. Academic implications. Contribution to the study of the Quran. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran has contributed to the wider field of Quranic studies. It has encouraged further exploration of the structure, language, and symbolism of texts, enriched academic discourse, and inspired new research avenues. Interdisciplinary research. The theory of numerical magic has fostered interdisciplinary research that combines linguistics, mathematics, and theology. This approach has provided new insights into the text of the Quran and its diverse meanings. Methodological innovations. The study of numerical patterns has led to methodological innovations in text analysis, statistical modeling, and data visualization. These innovations have improved the tools and techniques available to researchers in the field of Quranic studies. Challenges and criticisms. Although the theory of numerical miracles has contributed to Islamic studies, it has also faced challenges and criticisms. These include methodological concerns, theological debates, and questions about the significance and interpretation of numerical patterns. Methodological rigor. Critics argue that the methods used to identify and analyze numerical patterns in the Quran must be subject to rigorous scrutiny. This includes ensuring the validity of statistical analyses and the repeatability of results. Theological debate. The theory of numerical miracles has sparked theological debates about the nature of divine revelation and the role of numerical patterns in religious texts. This debate reflects the broader tension in Islamic studies between the literal and symbolic interpretation of the Quran. Broader implications. Dialogue between religions and comparative religions. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran has implications for interreligious dialogue and comparative study of religions. It promotes a comparative approach that examines symbolism and numerical patterns in texts and other religious traditions. Shared symbolism. The exploration of numerical patterns in the Quran can reveal symbolism and themes shared with other religious texts. This comparative approach can foster a deeper understanding and appreciation of the similarities and differences between religious traditions. Universal themes. The study of numerical patterns can identify universal themes that go beyond individual religious traditions. These themes reflect the shared human-divine experience and the search for meaning and understanding. This chapter explores the theological implications, academic and broader than the numerical patterns associated with the number 19 in the Quran. It offers insights into the importance of this pattern for Islamic studies, as well as the challenges and debates surrounding the theory of numerical miracles. Chapter 11: Future Direction and Research Potential Areas for Further Investigation. Expanding the scope of numerical analysis. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran is a rich and growing field with many opportunities for further research. Future studies may expand the scope of numerical analysis to include additional words, phrases, and structural elements. Comprehensive word study. Conduct a thorough study of other key words and phrases in the Quran to identify new numerical patterns and relationships. This can involve analyzing words related to divine attributes, prophetic narratives, and ethical teachings. Structural and thematic patterns. Explore the structural and thematic patterns in the Quran that may be related to the number 19. This can include examining the order of the sentences, the use of repetition, and the thematic coherence of the chapters. Advanced statistical and mathematical methods. Future research can use advanced statistical and mathematical methods to analyze numerical patterns in the Quran. This method can provide a deeper insight into the significance and interpretation of these patterns. Machine learning and AI. Use machine learning and artificial intelligence algorithms to analyze large data sets and identify complex numerical patterns. This technology can process large amounts of data and reveal relationships that may otherwise be overlooked by human researchers. Data visualization. Develop innovative data visualization techniques to represent numerical patterns in the Quran. Visual representation can help researchers and scholars better understand and interpret data. Interdisciplinary cooperation. Interdisciplinary collaboration can enrich the study of numerical patterns in the Quran by leveraging expertise from various fields, including linguistics, mathematics, computer science, and theology. Collaborative research project initiates a collaborative research project that brings together scholars from various disciplines to study numerical patterns in the Quran. These projects can foster new insights and methodological innovations. Cross-cultural studies. Conduct cross-cultural studies that compare numerical patterns in the Quran with those found in other religious texts and traditions. This comparative approach can provide a broader context for understanding the significance of numerical symbolism. Emerging technologies leveraging technological advancements. Emerging technologies offer new tools and techniques for studying numerical patterns in the Quran. These advancements can improve the accuracy and scope of numerical analysis, providing deeper insights into the text. Natural language processing, NLP, use NLP techniques to analyze the language and structure of the Quran. This technique can identify semantic relationships, syntactic patterns, and numerical codes embedded in the text. Big data analytics. Use big data analytics to process and analyze big data sets related to the Quran. This approach can reveal hidden patterns and relationships that may not be obvious through traditional methods. Developing new analytics tools. The development of new analytical tools can further advance the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. These tools can provide researchers with more sophisticated methods for identifying and interpreting numerical codes. Custom software applications. Develop custom software applications specifically designed to analyze numerical patterns in religious texts. These applications can automate many of the processes involved in numerical analysis, making it easier for researchers to identify and study patterns. Open source platform. Create an open source platform that allows scholars and researchers to share data, tools, and methodologies related to the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. The platform can foster collaboration and innovation in the field. Collaborative research opportunities. Building a research network. A research network can facilitate collaboration and knowledge sharing among scholars who study numerical patterns in the Quran. These networks can provide a forum to discuss new discoveries, methodologies, and interpretations. Academic conferences and workshops. organizes academic conferences and workshops that focus on the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. These events can bring together scholars from around the world to present their research and engage in dialogue. Online communities and forums. Create online communities and forums where scholars can share ideas, data, and resources related to the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. The platform can foster ongoing discussion and collaboration. Funding and support for research. Securing funding and support for research is essential to advancing the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. This can involve obtaining grants, sponsorships, and other forms of financial aid. Research grants and fellowships. Apply for research and fellowship grants to support research on numerical patterns in the Quran. These funds can be used to conduct fieldwork, develop new analytical tools, and disseminate research findings. Institutional partnerships forms partnerships with academic institutions, research centers, and other organizations to support collaborative research projects. These partnerships can provide the resources, expertise, and infrastructure to study numerical patterns in the Quran. This chapter explores future directions and research opportunities in the study of numerical patterns in the Quran. It highlights potential areas for further research, the role of emerging technologies, and the importance of collaborative research networks. Chapter 12, Conclusion Summary of Findings. Throughout this book, we have explored the significance of the number 19 in the Quran, delving into its historical context, numerical patterns, symbolic meaning, and the scholarly debates surrounding it. The journey has revealed intricate numerical patterns and theological implications that contribute to our understanding of the structure and message of the Quran. Historical and scriptural context. We examine the historical background of Surah Al-Mudaththir and the Ottoman Razm script, as well as the early interpretation of the number 19 by classical Islamic scholars. Numerical magic theory. We explore the concept of numerical magic, focusing on Rashad Khalifa's contributions and the critical perspectives that have emerged in response to his work. Numerical patterns. We analyze word counts, structural patterns, and mathematical confirmations related to the number 19 in the Quran. Symbolic significance. We discuss the symbolic and theological implications of the number 19, especially its association with angels over hellfire and its broader spiritual significance. Scholarly interpretation and debate. We present the views of both proponents and critics of numerical miracle theory, highlighting the ongoing debate and research in this field. Methodology for studying numerical patterns. We explore textual, statistical, and technological approaches to studying numerical patterns in the Quran. Comparative study with other religious texts. We compare the numerical patterns in the Quran with those found in other religious texts, such as the Bible and the Torah. Case studies and examples. We provide detailed case studies and examples of numerical patterns related to the number 19 in the Quran. Implications for Islamic studies. We discuss the theological implications, academics, and broader implications of the numerical patterns associated with the number 19 in the Quran. Direction and future research. We explore potential areas for further research, the role of emerging technologies, and the importance of collaborative research networks. Reflections on the journey. The exploration of the number 19 in the Quran has been a journey of discovery and reflection. It involves investigating complex numerical patterns, engaging with scholarly debates, and reflecting on the deeper spiritual and theological meanings in the Quranic text. This journey has enriched our understanding of the Quran and its place in Islamic thought and scholarship. Personal growth. Engaging with the theory of numerical magic has become a process of personal growth and intellectual exploration. It has challenged us to think critically about the nature of divine revelation and the role of numerical patterns in religious texts. Academic contribution. This exploration has contributed to the wider field of study of the Quran, encouraging further research and dialogue on the importance of numerical patterns in the Quran. Spiritual insights. The journey has also provided spiritual insights, reminding us of the divine order and harmony that underlies creation and the importance of righteous conduct and moral reflection. Final thoughts. The significance of the number 19 in the Quran is an interesting subject that continues to captivate scholars and researchers. Whether seen as a divine mathematical code or a symbol of deeper spiritual truth, the number 19 offers a window into the deep meaning and structure of the Quranic text. As we conclude this exploration, we are reminded of the enduring relevance and importance of the Quran in Islamic thought and practice. The numerical pattern associated with the number 19 serves as a reminder of the divine order and harmony underlying creation and the importance of seeking understanding and wisdom in our engagement with sacred texts. This book aims to provide a comprehensive and balanced exploration of the number 19 in the Quran, offering insights into its historical context, numerical patterns, symbolic meaning, and scholarly debate. It is our hope that this exploration will inspire further research, reflection, and dialogue on the profound and enduring importance of the Quran in Islamic thought and scholarship. This concluding chapter summarizes the book's key findings, offers reflections on the journey of exploration, and provides final thoughts on the significance of the number 19 in the Quran. Epilogue: Beyond the Numbers. As we conclude our exploration of the number 19 in the Quran, it is important to reflect on the broader implications of this journey. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran is not just an academic exercise, it is a spiritual quest that invites us to delve deeper into the mysteries of divine revelation and the search for human meaning. Efforts to understand the pursuit of knowledge and understanding is a fundamental aspect of human existence. Our exploration of the number 19 in the Quran is a testament to this enduring quest. Whether through the lens of mathematics, linguistics, or theology, we seek to unravel the complexity of the universe and our place in it. This quest is driven by a desire to connect with something bigger than ourselves, to find purpose and meaning in the intricate tapestry of life. The beauty of uncertainty. One of the most profound lessons from our exploration is the beauty of uncertainty. Debates and discussions about the theory of numerical magic remind us that our understanding of divinity is constantly evolving and incomplete. This uncertainty is not a weakness but a strength, inviting us to approach the holy with humility and admiration. It encourages us to remain open to new insights and interpretations, recognizing that the path to understanding is a journey rather than a destination. The power of symbolism. The number 19, with its repetitive pattern and symbolic meaning, serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of symbolism in religious thought. Symbols have the ability to transcend language and culture, speaking to the universal human experience of divinity. They invite us to reflect on the deeper reality that underlies our existence and seek a connection with the transcendent. Fusion of knowledge. Our exploration has also highlighted the unity of knowledge. The study of numerical patterns in the Quran brings together various fields, including mathematics, linguistics, theology, and history. This interdisciplinary approach reminds us that all knowledge is interconnected, reflecting the unity and coherence of creation. It encourages us to seek integration and synthesis in our pursuit of understanding, recognizing that interdisciplinary divisions are often artificial and limited. A call to reflection. Finally, our journey invites us to a deeper reflection on the nature of faith and belief. The numerical patterns in the Quran serve as a call to contemplation, inviting us to reflect on the mysteries of divine revelation and the search for human meaning. They remind us that faith is not simply about faith, but about deep engagement with the sacred, a willingness to question, seek, and grow. As we move beyond numbers, let us bring with us the spirit of inquiry, humility, and admiration that has guided our exploration. May our journey inspire us to continue to seek understanding, accept the beauty of uncertainty, and reflect deeply on the mysteries of faith and belief. This epilogue reflects the broader implications of our exploration of the number 19 in the Quran, inviting readers to reflect on the deeper meaning and mystery of divine revelation and man's quest for understanding. If you have any further questions or need additional details, please ask. Muslims believe that the Quran, the holy book of Islam, is the word of God. It's a book full of deep spiritual meaning and guidance, revealed to the Prophet Muhammad over 1400 years ago. The Quran is written in Arabic, a language known for its beauty and poetry. But the Quran is more than just a book of words. It's also a guide for law, morals, and wisdom for Muslims. Muslims are encouraged to study the Quran carefully, to think about what it means, and to live their lives according to its teachings. This focus on learning and thinking has created a rich tradition of Quranic scholarship in Islam. In the Quran, some numbers appear many times in patterns that seem to be done on purpose. One number, 19, has gotten a lot of attention and study. Because it shows up so much in the Quran, some scholars believe it has a special meaning. The Quran itself even mentions the number 19 as a key to its secrets. This kind of analysis, often done with computers, has found complex number patterns throughout the Quran. Some people say these patterns are too complex and exact to just be an accident. A good example of the number 19's importance is in Surah Al-Mudaththir, the 74th chapter of the Quran. This chapter is important not just for what it says, but also for the hidden number patterns in it. The first verse of this chapter has 19 Arabic letters. This might seem like a small detail, but it becomes more important when we think about number analysis. Each letter in this verse seems to have been carefully chosen to keep a special numerical balance. When we look closer at Surah Al-Mudaththir, we find other interesting number patterns related to the number 19. For example, the number of letters in some verses is also a multiple of 19, which makes it seem like this isn't just random. If we add up the verse numbers of every verse where the number 19 or its multiples show up, the total is a multiple of 19. This suggests that there's a very organized and deliberate system behind how this chapter was written. This amazing consistency has led many people to believe that the number 19 is very important in the structure and message of the Quran. For those who study this, the number 19 becomes more than just a number. It becomes a sign of the Quran's incredible grandeur and wonder. It opens up new paths for research and discoveries that will probably continue to amaze us. Studying number patterns in the Quran became really popular in the 20th century because of the work of Rashad Khalifa. Khalifa, an Egyptian-American scientist, spent years studying the Quran using computers. His work, which led to his book, The Computer Speaks God's Message to the World, introduced the idea of a Quranic mathematical code to a lot of people. Khalifa's research showed how much the number 19 appears throughout the Quran. He said that this number was like a sign from God, proving that the Quran is truly from God. Some people believed his findings and thought they proved the Quran was a miracle, while others didn't agree with his methods or his conclusions. The idea that numbers have special meaning in religious books is not just found in Islam. In many religions and belief systems, numbers are often thought to have deep symbolic and spiritual meaning. Throughout history and across different cultures, there are many examples of civilizations giving special meaning to certain numbers. From the ancient Egyptians to the Maya, numbers were often connected to ideas about the universe and spiritual beliefs. For example, the ancient Greeks were fascinated by the math found in nature and art. They believed that numbers held the key to understanding the universe and our place in it. Pythagoras, a famous Greek mathematician, created a system of numerology, giving each number its own special qualities and meanings. He believed that numbers had mystical powers and could help us understand the world and ourselves. In a similar way, ancient Jewish mystics, called Kabbalists, thought the numerical values of Hebrew letters and words were very important. They used numbers to look for hidden meanings in their holy texts. This practice, called gematria, aimed to uncover hidden meanings and connections in the Hebrew Bible by looking at the numerical values of words and phrases. They believed this would help them understand the deeper, more secret messages hidden in their holy book. The belief in the power and symbolism of numbers is found all over the world in different cultures and religions. From east to west, from ancient times to today, numbers continue to be important in people's spiritual beliefs and practices. Finding complex number patterns in the Quran, especially those related to the number 19, has caused a lot of discussion among scholars. Some scholars see these patterns as proof that the Quran is from God. They say that these patterns are so complex and precise that humans couldn't have created them, and that they must be from a supernatural source. However, other scholars aren't so sure. They think these patterns might just be coincidence and not a message from God. This debate shows how hard it can be to bring together faith and reason, especially when we're trying to understand religious books. The ongoing study of numerical patterns in the Quran makes us ask some interesting questions about how faith and reason work together. Can studying math help us understand religious texts better? Can it be a bridge between the spiritual world and the scientific world? For some, finding these patterns is strong evidence that the Quran is from God. Others say we shouldn't assume that math patterns are proof of something supernatural. Trying to find meaning is a natural part of being human. From ancient times until now, humans have wanted to understand their purpose and the meaning of life. We're always looking for patterns, connections, and explanations for the world around us. We try to find answers to the big questions by reading, doing research, and studying old texts. Studying the number patterns in the Quran shows how much humans want to find order in chaos, to uncover hidden truths, and to understand the deeper message that might be in this holy book. We want to feel connected to something bigger than ourselves. We often look for comfort and enlightenment through prayer, meditation, and being with others who share our beliefs. Whether these patterns are seen as a sign from God or just an interesting math fact, they give us a new way to look at this holy book. It helps us understand the Quran on a deeper level. Every new discovery leads to more questions and things to think about. It encourages us to come to this sacred text with a sense of wonder. Each time we read it, we might find something new and meaningful. The work of trying to unravel the mysteries of the Quran, both in its language and its numbers, will likely continue for many years to come. Each generation brings new perspectives and technologies that might help us understand this holy book even better.